Hey, fourth graders. This is pages 242 to 243, practicing with troublesome verbs. All right, so this is just more examples on how to use lie and lay and sit and set. So nothing new to teach you guys. Just a review. These are just some screenshots I took from my other videos. Remember sit and set. The difference for sit is you're doing it to yourself. You're resting or you're seated, seating yourself. All right. Same thing for lie. Remember lie. You're doing also to yourself. You're resting or reclining. Okay. And lie when you're lying, when you lay down, or sorry, when you're lying down, you are kind of more sprawled out. You're a little bit more spread out. And sitting, you're just on your bottom. Remember. For set, to put or place something due to something else. So you're setting something else down. In laying something similar, you're spreading or placing something else down, doing to something else. So those are the big differences. All right, lie, sit and lie, you're doing it to yourself. Set and lay, you're doing it to something else. So let's go over a couple of the problems together. Read the writing. For think A, it says, write C in the blank if the italicized verb in each sentence is correct. Write I if it is incorrect. We sat in our new car for hours. Sat. Did they use sat correctly in sentence? Well, we have to ask ourselves, we know that sat is past tense of sit, which means to be seated or rest, doing it to yourself. Are they talking about themselves sitting down? So we sat in our new car for hours. So yes, this is correct. So we sat. They're not making it. They're not saying they're making something else sitting down. Okay, they're using it correctly. They're sitting down themselves. The fly laid on top of the water until a big fish swallowed it. Really quickly, remember, lay can be both the future tense for laying for this lay, or it could be the past tense of lie. So that's something very tricky to keep in mind. I created a little trick for you guys to remember. I said I lied that I lay in bed, and I also wrote what was it? I will lay the Lay's chips. So this tells me that the past tense of lie is lay, because this sentence happened in the past, right? I lied that I lay in bed. Or I will lay the Lay's chips. So since this sentence is happening in the future, it's going to happen in the future, I know that the future tense of lay is lay. So hopefully that helps you more than it confuses you guys. So number 2, the fly laid on top of the water until a big fish swallowed it. Well, laid is the past tense of this lay, right? To spread or put something else down. Is it talking in this sentence? Is the fly laying down something else, or lying itself down? All right. So the fly laid on top of the water until a big fish swallowed it. So it sounds like they're trying to use the verb lie here. Okay. So they're using the wrong. So they use the wrong. They're using laid incorrectly, because laid, it can only be used for putting something else down. Let me move this. So yes, this is incorrect. So what they were looking for is actually lay, this lay, right? All right. The old soldier was sitting in a rocking chair on his front porch. So setting is the present tense of set, to put or place something due to something else. So is the soldier putting something else down, or is he putting or sitting down himself? So the old soldier was sitting in a rocking chair on his front porch. All right. So what do you think? Is it I or C? So write your answer here. All right. So even if you say out loud, you can tell that whether or not the sentence sounds correct or not just by saying it out loud. Think B says on notebook paper, rewrite each incorrect sentence, and think A using the right verb this time. You don't have to rewrite the whole sentence down. You go ahead and just write it above the verb here. Okay. I can tell who's been watching my videos just by who's been listening to my instructions. A lot of you guys are doing a lot more work than you need to by using a separate paper on a lot of these problems. All right. So it's, watching these videos is worth it. I think C, underline the correct verb in the parentheses. Usually the women lay or lie their wash out on the riverbank to dry. So their wash means like the dirty clothes. This is like an old word for dirty clothes. So usually the women, is it lay or lie? Well, we know, see, out on the riverbank. So if they use lay, well, if they use lie, we know that they're talking about doing it to themselves. And lay, future tense of this lay, means to spread something else down. So since they're talking about laying something else down, you would use lay, right? Because this makes sense for them to use lie, because they're not lying down. They're not lying themselves down. They're laying something else down. What book is that? Laying on the table. All right. So you have to ask yourself: Is this sentence talking about something else? Someone putting something else down, or is it talking about something already just lying there? So what book is that? Lying or laying on the table? So in this case, since it's not telling us that someone else put something else down, this would be lying. So the book is lying down itself. Even though the book, I know it's not alive. It's not like the book can walk over to the table and then just lie down. Yeah. Since the sentence doesn't tell us who put down the book, or it's not saying that someone else put down the book. We just have to assume that the book, is doing it to himself, right? He's just lying there by himself. All right. I know it's a little bit confusing, but hopefully, practice, you guys will get it. So if the sentence doesn't mention anyone else doing it to the book, laying the book down, then you would assume that the book is just lying itself down on the floor or on whatever. All right. Okay. So hopefully this right here will help you guys a lot on solving these. So yeah, feel free to pause the video right around here so that you can always have this in front of you. Let's go over to the next thing. On the back of the page, underline the correct verbs in this story. The rocket sat or set on the launch pad, pointing its steel fingers to the place that it would soon visit, the moon. Okay, so sat or set. So we know from this screen here that sat means to rest or be seated, do to yourself. And set means to put or place something, do to something else. So in this sentence here, is the rocket placing something else down on the launch pad, or is it placing itself down on the launch pad? This sentence doesn't mention anything else, so we would use sat. Okay. Again, I know it's kind of confusing because rockets can't. It's not like the rockets can, lay down by itself. But since the sentence doesn't mention anyone else doing it to the rocket, we have to assume that the rocket is sitting himself down. All right. As the sun rose slowly and launch time approached, men began appearing everywhere, all working busily. The men at the control panels sat or set down their cups of coffee and watched the screens and the dials of the computers carefully. So it's talking about their cups of coffee. They're putting something else down. So which one should I use if I'm talking about putting something else down? Sat or set? If you look back here, sat is to rest or to be seated to yourself, and set is to put or place something else, do to something else, right? So since they're setting something else down, their cup of coffee, we would use set. All right, go ahead and do the rest by yourself. I hope that helps. If, of course, if anything's confusing to you guys, just send me an email or text me or FaceTime me, whatever. All right, see ya.